To the rivers, beside golden sands too. Listen up, Perth, this anthem's for you. All over town, Perth Swan Cricket lighting the way. The great game of cricket, we live it every day. Pitch, it's a battle of will. The smell of the turf and the cheers that still thrill. Grass beneath our feet, we sweat and we grind. The heart of Perth Swan, we're one of a kind. So come, raise your voices, let the anthem ring. We're the pride of Perth Swan. Hear the songs we all sing. Perth Swan's on fire. Feel the energy soar. When the crowd starts roaring, we're ready for more. The community sports show, home of the PSCA, showing our passions to the world every day. With legend behind us and dreams in our hands, you'll find us united from the bush to the sands. The spirit of Perth, it runs through our veins. In every match played, that's where it remains. Under the hot summer sun, Perth Swan Cricket is igniting the flame, rocking the globe with the sound of the game. Perth Swan's on fire. Feel the energy soar. When the crowd starts roaring, we're ready for more. The community sports show, the home of the PSCA. Don't hang around. Come and join us today.
Across the globe, you're here on the Community Sports Show.
Dun, 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 dun. Here I am. It's Friday night, and where else would I be except here in the Community Sports Show studio? It is the Intersport Slater Gartrell Perth Swan Cricket Association Week 6 review show with me, Noelzy Johnston, coming to you live from the Community Sports Show studio. I'm flying as best I can. I'm flying solo tonight. Unfortunately, unable to get a list of people in. I have had offers from someone last week. Bailey, a fantastic effort. I just thought I'd give you the week off, mate. I can't ask you to back it up twice. But what I can ask is for you to support those who support us, and of course, not only Intersport Slater Gartrell, who I've been into today and picked up more vouchers for you all to win. It is our platinum sponsors, ID Athletic, for your sporting apparel and promotional club merchandise. ID Athletic really can help you and your club build your identity. And Vision Decor, I don't just say it, I use them. They're on the floor here in the studio, and their blinds are up in our house for your curtain blinds, awnings, and even hybrid floorings. Vision Decor can make your life a lot easier because they're great people. All right, well, I just want to start out by acknowledging the people online. I can see a big crowd there already. Kaylin's already said g'day. Good day to you, Kaylin. I want to also thank the clubs that are sharing this. We didn't add everyone as co-hosts because that's a mixed bag. But if you have shared it, thank you very much wherever you are across the globe. I'm here for you to have a look at all things Perth Swan Cricket Association. Plenty to get through. Every grade, every match, every week we have a look at the highs, the lows, and a lot of stuff from in between. And I tell you what, looking at some of the grades, there's been some great performances and some absolute shockers as well. So we'll have a look at all those. We've got some awards to give away, of course. Our video of the week, 8 contenders this week. Who's going to win the prize there? And our first ever video of the month. We've got some Joey's Swan Valley Diner and Intersport Slater Gartrell vouchers to give away there, as well as the effort of the week and some big efforts across the grades last weekend as well. So plenty to get through, but as we do every week, before we kick it off, let's have a look at a few special mentions. First of all, last week, I want to say thanks to Tracy Newman for being online. We gave away the autographed Ricky Ponting poster, over 300 entrants in that. Tracy Newman won it and was online to claim it, and she picked it up from me on Saturday morning up there at Caversham. So well done to you, Tracy. It's already up on the wall. Great to see. Well done to Caversham. We were out there on Saturday at Dayton District Open Space, and they took out 5 from 5, their first of the season. Christina Winter chucking up some great pictures for Bullsbrook in the video highlight, or the Warriors video of the week. Great pictures there, Christina. West Coast, they're doing their thing now. Bailey, I mentioned it last week, Beyond the Boundary with Bailey O'Keefe and Michael Edwards. They're enjoying themselves. Helena Valley, well done. You've joined the Frogbox family. They broadcast their C-grade game versus SKLP last week. Make sure you do check out our links of the week. Every Saturday morning we'll put up what games are being frog-boxed and where, by who, for what. Just like we know that Brett Hoggo Harrison is celebrating his 300th game for Coolbinia West Perth this Saturday. Paul Fernie plays his 300th for Allenbrook. Well done, Prez. And before we look at the grades and all the scores, a couple of weeks ago we took a moment out to recognise the passing of young cricketer Ben Austin. Well, one of our own family, Neil Weasel Worsley, suffering a loss in his family this week. So from me, Weasel, and the Perth Swan community, our thoughts and love go out to you and all the Worsleys on this occasion. And look, the reality is, we talk about stronger together. Please be there for everyone, because it's not just Weasel that suffers from someone passing. It happens to us all. Lift each other up and be there. All right, well, speaking of being there for each other, let's have a look at the first grade It was day one last week, and we saw Les Murdy take on Forestfield. Forestfield putting on 205 off 68. Les Murdy yet to bat there. Swanview put on 220 off 62. Not a bad run rate there. And Carlisle in reply a none for 42 off 15. SKLP put on 200, some good scores here, 210 off 63. Bayswater currently 1 for 51, I should say, off 16 in reply. So some time matches there. We'll have a look at that in a moment. But first, the batting mentions. Ahmad Khan with 82 not out off 121, batting at 6 for Forestfield there. Almost putting him into the PSCA All-Stars team that we're putting together. Almost Ahmad, not quite though. Sean Dunn put on 67. Uday Kakani with 58 not out off 76 at 6. Another contender there. It's great to see some competition, and Weasel, big love to you, mate, and to all the family. Hopefully everyone gets around you. All right, Luke Otway had 53, Kush Gorshia 45, and Matty Parnham rounding out the opening mentions, sneaking in just with 30. There were 4 bowlers with 5. There were no 3s or 4s though. They just doing it in handfuls over there in first grade. Luke Stevens the best with 5 for 27. Matt Rodeo Sadler, been a while since I've given you a mention there. 5 for 21. Dan Yaksich up there, the Kookaburras 5 for 55. And the old school campaigner Wes Morton 5 for 81. And that was off 18. So chipping away there. Sounds horrible, but 4 and over off 18. Solid effort, Wes. All right. Noelzy's Angels. Hardly. All right, let's move on before I smile. Thanks, Caitlin. Golden Ducks, well, they are back again this year. We'll go through them, have a look. SKLP getting one there this week and using round figures because we all know I'm mass challenged. SKLP need 160 to beat Bayswater and continue holding top spot on the ladder. Carlisle won 180 against Swanview, and that's a battle there for 4. So I expect a hard-fought afternoon of cricket there. And Les Murdy Mazenod chasing 206 versus, I said round figures, I wrote 210, but 206 versus Forestfield, who will want to defend that score. It's not a bad score. If they can defend it, they'll get their first win of the season. So Forestfield, chance for you. I'm a Hawks man in footy. I've shared many a moment upstairs with you all. Can you get the win? Question to be answered on next week's show. All right, well, second grade, it was a bowler's paradise, absolutely. Some very low scores here. Just 5 teams in the competition here, of course. SKLP, 9 for 50 off 22. And it says here, Art Chasing University, 6 for 88. So I'm not sure if SKLP actually have got one left to round out that side, although it looks like University have taken it on the first innings. And overall, the day score line there with Uni 6 for 88 and SKLP 9 for 50. 15 for 138 off 60 odd overs there. A bit slow, ladies and gentlemen, but I wasn't there. And I've been known to dot it up, so who am I to criticise anyone? Allenbrook, well, they're 2 for 15 off 11. Speaking of dotting it up, they've gone slow to start out, but they can afford to because they're chasing Ascot's 140 and have, realistically, they've got another 80 or 70 overs to put on the board there, and I suspect they might. Caversham are enjoying the bye and potentially enjoying the carnage as well, I suspect. All right, 2 Goldens here. SKLP, number 2. and not two, but that is their second of the night. We're only in second grade. And University. Just two batting mentions this week in a low-scoring effort. No surprises there. Dilshan Damel with 37, not out, off 94, batting at 6. And then Matt Dunn with 37 off 85 at 1. Both those players for Ascot out of the 140 there. So good effort, Dilshan and Matt. Unfortunately, your side's going to have to defend really well. All right, Aaron Diss. He took 7 for 41, one of our best bowling efforts of the season so far for Dissy, off 18.5 for the Rangers. Akshay Bandari with 4 for 18 off 9. Ryan Berger, 4 for 28. And Owen Howard, not bad numbers here, 3 for 2 off 2 for University in their, I'm going to say, win over SKLP. Well, third place, Allenbrook, they've got 8 batsmen available to get the 126 they need against Ascot. Should be able to do it, but batting collapses, we all know, happen to the best of us. University and SKLP are to battle it out, according to my statistician, and trying to regain a bit of pride in a tough one to pick. They've sat on the fence there. Noelzy, well, I'm going to say that realistically, we've seen sides take bonus points. With University taking early points, I'd probably expect to see them go out, put on a quick 150 or so, and then maybe send SKLP and try and roll them for the second dig. But who knows? I'm not the captain. Let's again find out later next week. Or if you're at the game, you'll know on Saturday. All right, well, interestingly enough, with Bailey Cayley in here last week, this third grade round looked ominous. It really is a case of top half versus bottom half at the moment, and it's quite a separation between the two. But at the moment, I'd say numbers are looking pretty even. Ascot sitting third, they had SKLP 6 for 279 off the 70. Bayswater put on 209 off 65. University 1 for 23. That one could get away from University if they're not careful. And in a battle of first versus sixth, first place Swanview yet to bat, Lesmurdy Mazenod 9 for 180 off 67. So the latter leaders with a chase there. Lesmurdy chasing a couple of points as well. All right, special mention here for Milan de Basia, 113 not out off 152 balls. Batting at 4 for SKLP, 17 fours in that mix, has actually put Milan in the running for the Noelzy's, as Kaylin's calling them, Noelzy's Angels, but they are in reality the Community Sports Show PSCA All-Stars. So Milan in the running there. Dan McFarlane had 55. Connor Horsfield with 53. Kishan Vicaria 48, and 36 of those in boundaries. That's not bad effort there. And Nick Daxter with 45 off 113, the younger, older statesman of Lesmurdy Mazenod with a good knock. Chris Lowdyke, he had 35, and rounding out the batting mentions for third grade, it was Leith Wilson with 34. One golden duck goes to the Postals. No names, no pack drills. We'll check that out later in the night. Who's leading there? Bayswater with 1 to their tally. Good to see you online, Bailey. And yes, we... wow, that's very generous of you, and I think that's probably not unreasonable. We'll have a look at the B grade shortly. Bailey Cayley stepping up to offer up the Better Bailey title to Bailey O'Keefe. We'll see how that pans out. But before we get there, let's wrap up third grade. Marcel Wilson with 4 for 50, and Ryan Kovalev's good to have you watching and joining us online, Ryan. He had 4 for 76 off 24 for University. Situation looks like this. Swanview need 181 against Les Moody Mazenod if they want to hold first. Bayswater should hold out University, who need 185. And fifth placed SKLP have 279 to defend to try and take fourth place from University. So good tight battles there. It's great to see. It's also great to see a big crowd online. Thanks for joining me wherever you are. What we're going to do now is just take a very brief drinks break and be back in just a moment here on the Community Sports Show with me, Noelzy Johnston, for week 6 of the Intersport Slater Gartrell Perth Swan Cricket Association review show, proudly brought to you thanks to our platinum sponsors, ID Athletic and Vision Decor, as well as our show sponsor, Intersport Slater Gartrell. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Across the globe, you're here on the Community Sports Show.
Everyone and every sport is welcome to join in the fun, from the large and especially the small. We're here to help them to stand proud and tall. We tell you their stories with all of the glories. We lift up the stars from near and from far. Through Facebook and YouTube and Instagram too, sharing the love of connection, it's just what we do. The Community Sports Show, your home of the people, their tales and their dreams. It's the only place for you and your teams.
Dun, 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 dun. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome one and all, wherever you are. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as it is here in Perth, good night to you. Thanks for joining me, Noelzy Johnston, coming to you live on the Community Sports Show for the Intersport Slater Gartrell Perth Swan Cricket Association review show, week 6 edition. And before we get back into it, just acknowledging a couple of comments coming through on the Facebook chat. Bailey O'Keefe officially being given the Better Bailey title by Bailey Cayley, and Bailey asking, no guest tonight. Well, welcome back. I did have a guest lined up. It is Middle Swan versus Bullsbrook this week. We did have a guest lined up, but work called and they are stuck at work, and that does happen sometimes. So thanks anyway for the thought there, Charger. I'll see you tomorrow at the game. All right, well, speaking of seeing you, you can see through the curtains and blinds and awnings of Vision Decor, our platinum sponsor, as well as a lot of the merchandise of ID Athletic for your sporting club. Let them help you build your identity. And Joey's Swan Valley Diner, we've got some vouchers to give away later. Joey's Swan Valley Diner coming on board as a sponsor. Thanks very much, Glenn and Mel and the team at Joey's. Yum, 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 yum. All right. Couple of drink break mentions here. Promote the T20 nominations. Well, that's what it says on the notes. So just a reminder, we have a couple of weeks left at Middle Swan. We're actually looking to put a side in. The competition running through December and January, 6 weeks on Tuesday nights from, let's use round figures, 4:30 till 7 o'clock. And it's an opportunity. It will be Perth Swan Cricket Association only, played before it gets dark. That's the intention. So, and it's played in geographical footprints, 4 teams per, I guess you could call them a pool, and then 4 pools of 4. So, a big opportunity. Register today. Just want to take a moment, and I smile as I say this because this next bit I've got to put my naughty hat on. During the week I posted a video and I said this isn't part of our video moments of the week. It was a bit of vision though about an appeal, and a vigorous appeal, and a few clubs have started mentioning their disappointment in square leg calls, etc. Well, the reality is the association is always looking for umpires, both official association umpires and club umpires, and there are a number in training. As a former umpire myself, I know how tough and challenging it can be to actually get the support you need, and the coverage we need. That led to another question about the hierarchy for appointments of umpires. I know Perth Swan are hosting this show. It's being co-hosted by the Community Sports Show, but we're officially running it through the association page tonight. I've asked the question, and unfortunately the exec officer is currently not available, but we'll have a look when we can at what the appointment hierarchy is. Now, before we get into the one-day competitions, let's wrap it up with a call for T20 commentators. With Weasel, Steve Abbott jumping in there. Good to have you online, Steve. Hope your voice is coming back. But before we move on, a call out for T20 commentators. Weasel was, and I've spoken to him, he was planning to get involved and may still do so, but with the loss in his family, obviously family come first. So if you'd like to get involved and jump in the van on a Tuesday night, give commentary a crack, or maybe run the camera or the scoreboard for us, or any of those would be great. I'd love to hear from you. All right, let's get into it. Vision Decor, not just sponsoring us, but sponsoring the one-day A-grade competition for the Perth Swan Cricket Association. And looking at the score lines here, Dianella 143 lost to Hawke's Punjabi 207. Gulbinia West Perth 128 going down to Caversham 8 for 201. Scarborough, the Sharks, more gummy than a great wide at the moment. 3 balls to spare, fell by 2 runs. 179 off 39.3 overs, going down to Mount Lawley 7 for 181 off their 40. So just falling short there, Scarborough. that's sure to light a fire in the belly. Yokine Pilbara, well, it wasn't the worst crash of the week. They had 82 off 27 to go down to Helena Valley, who put on 145. Just looking at the batsmen. Sorry, viewers, just trying to toggle through a couple of things there. Just having a look at the batsmen, we've got Jeff Carter on 69, Daniel Del Preti. He'll be disappointed. He had 52 of Scarborough's score there at 7, and they fell short by a couple, so he'll be legitimately asking a couple of teammates what went on. Trent Mitchell had 49, Harman Dillon and Ash Brar both with 47, Jeevanpreet Singh with 43, Rory McFarlane Barrow and Tim Durrell both with 42, Verinder Sandhu with 40 and Satvir Shran with 35, while for Caversham, Raj Jatana 34 off 15 batting at 7 and 4 for 33, just looking across there to put him in contention for the Community Sports Show PSCA All-Stars team, but nonetheless an effort of the week as well candidate. Now, not sure what happened, but 7 golden ducks in the Vision Day Court A grade last week. A bit of a collapse here. Caversham with 1, Yokine Pilbara with 1, Scarborough had 2, and then Hawke's Punjabi, not satisfied with 2, went for 3. Vishal Sharma, he had 4 for 16. Nathan Weemis had 4 for 26. Kasun Deshan Silva, 4 for 41 and 33, batting at 9 for Dianella there, putting Kashun in the running as well for the effort of the week. Michael Denon had 3 for 16. Shabazz Bangash 3 for 20. Lindsay Natty 3 for 27. Daniel Elsgood 3 for 42. And Trent George Kennedy, and as I just discreetly slide across, he had 3 for 47. Nothing discreet really, was it? Two sides on top here, both with 4 wins, 1 loss. Helena Valley currently trailing Caversham by 0.16. Caversham in the lead. Scarborough in third. Hawke's Punjabi have 4th, both of those on 3 wins, while Dianella, Mount Lawley Inglewood have 2, Yokine Pilbara and Coolbinia West Perth, both with 1 to their name. Well, I mentioned the Sharks, and I know they watch now. Big shout out to you all. Helena Valley take on Dianella. Hawke's Punjabi take on Yokine Pilbara. And my match of the week this week sees first place Caversham at home against the Sharks. They come inland. Can they bring the bite with them? That'll be the match of the round there in first grade, in my opinion. Mount Lawley Inglewood taking on Coolbinia West Perth to round out the A-grade matches. All right, now Bailey Cayley. This is the B grade. This is where we find out how good Bailey O'Keefe actually is. The man, the myth, the legend. Let's have a look. Hawke's Punjabi, 117, went down to Caversham, 5 for 119 off 22. Midland in 31 had 2 for 201 to defeat Mundaring, 8 for 197 in a high-scoring game there. West Coast, 7 for 181 off 38, defeating Southern Rossmoyne, 176 off their 40. And Glen Forest going down to Brabham, 9 for 122 to Brabham, a very impressive 7 for 290. Now, there is a reason Bailey Cayley has handed over the mantle of the Better Bailey title to Bailey O'Keefe. Batting at 5, he seems to have found his comfort zone there. Batting at 5, finding some form, putting on 101 not out off 82 balls to steer his side home on Saturday against Southern Rossmoyne. and then coming in with the ball and taking 3 for 25 off 6 to contribute with both bat and ball. Definitely a strong candidate for the effort of the week and for the Perth Swan Community Sports Show All-Stars team. Also looking at a spot there, Anthony the Raunch Wills. He had 94 off 106 batting at 3, and that was 50% of the Mundaring score, so well done there, Anthony. Julian Jenkins had 90 not out. Kanwar Gill had 58 not out. Mindala Don, he holds on to his spot in the All-Stars team. He had 47. Muhammad Raza with 45. Albie Denny's had 44 not out for Glen Forest in a low-scoring effort by them. Varun Margot had 43. Both Harmanpreet and Amritpal Singh had 35. Donjaya Singh, Mangi Bra and Samir Sohai with 34. And the West Coast keeper, Paul Craft, with 32. 2 Goldens in the B grade, 1 to Southern Rossmoyne and 1 to West Coast. Jag Danoa with 4 for 41, Aranda Rajapaksha with 3 for 16, Abhi Thakur 3 for 17, Harjit Sandhu 3 for 20. Kane Jeffrey also had 3 for 20 but then came out and had 62 runs on top. Ronan Leonard had 3 for 29 and, there were, just swallow that bit of rice from dinner. Nobody saw, did they? No, nobody saw. All right. Every week I mentioned the Golden Ducks. I also mentioned the bowling performances if they're good for the bowlers but bad for the team as well. 33 extras by Glen Forest, really not giving themselves any help there. All right, Brabham lead the ladder on 5-0. West Coast sits second with 4-1 and a superior percentage, so a win this weekend by West Coast and a loss by Brabham could see a swap in the positions there. Caversham and Hawke's Punjabi in 3rd and 4th. Southern Rossmoyne, Midland, and then tailing away it is Glen Forest and Mundaring. And the matches this week, Mundaring versus Caversham. That one's going to be a tough one at home for Mundaring. Midland taking on Hawke's Punjabi. That should be a close one realistically. Midland, if they want to be competitive later in the season, will want a good win at home there. West Coast should get the points over Glen Forest, and the match of the round, I'm calling at least, sees Southern Rossmoyne taking on Brabham. Brabham making the road trip down there to Canning. Southern Rossmoyne. Opportunity, Midland, I don't know. It's close in that middle order there. B grade, who's going to take the points? I don't know. All right, C grade. Let's have a look here. A big shout out to you all. I can see you online as well. Thanks for joining me. I'll tell you what. Earlier today, I picked up a couple of Slater Gartrell Intersport vouchers to give away, and I've got a couple of spare vouchers for Joey's Swan Valley Diner. Say g'day during the comments there, and at the end of the night I'll literally just pluck a number out and one of you will get the bonus Joey's Swan Valley Diner voucher there. All right, let's have a look at, because I'm feeling lonely, I want people to talk to me. All right, let's have a look at C grade. Caversham defeating Carlisle convincingly 189 to 113. Helena Valley 96 off 25. They fell to SKLP, who put on 209 off 39.3. Bullsbrook, well, they're in the match of the week this week. They only had to chase 89 from Forestfield, and they put on 3 for 118 off 20 there. And Brabham, well, in a close one here, and this one has certainly got the people at Middle Swan up and about. Thanks, good to see you there, DC. And Dave Mason, g'day to you as well. This match here really did get a few conversations, and I was going back to the point before about square leg decisions and things like that. Look, I smile here, viewers, through my aging smile. I smile as a former umpire, as a player, and now as a commentator. Keep the game in the spirit it's meant to be played. If you're at square leg, watch the line, watch the run out, watch the stump-ins, and even though it's your teammate, if they're out, give them. I can't see from the position I'm in behind the bowler's arm. I'm not saying anything about any decisions other than please look after each other out there, play it in good spirit and get along, changing dynamics out there. Different teams thinking that certain trophies are up for grabs. So it's local sport. We said at the top of the show, look after each other. And that includes your opponent. So let's get on with it. Jeff Hammond with 83 off 67 at number 1 for Middle Swan. Then we have Dhruv Gopal he had 78. Prabh Singh with 64. And Mohan Lathwal, who was part of the broadcast last week, he had 63. Manpreet Dillon had 42. Jacob Edwards 40 not out. Glenn Sands 39. Harjit Singh 37 not out. And I hope you're enjoying Bali. Joel Hugo, he had 33 not out. Ben Keeler had 33 off 17, batting at number 1 for Helena Valley, a third of their score. And Ethan Johnson just sneaking in. There's always someone sneaky. Ethan Johnson getting a batting mention for his 30. In the bowling stakes, a couple of 5-fers here. Anish Harani with 5 for 12. Then Bullsbrooks, Rory Crosby 5 for 19 and 37 runs with the bat. A good effort there, Rory. I look forward to seeing you in action on the weekend. Kuldeep Chowdhury had 4 for 26. Desi David in his 100th had 3 for 14. And Mrinda Hundal had 3 for 25. And Gurman Singh with 3 for 31. Speaking of 3-fers, well, there were 3 Goldens. SKLP with 2 and Forestfield with the other. Good effort here, Bullsbrook. I spoke to Jura today. He was one of the potential candidates to be in the studio. Unfortunately not able to join us, but Bullsbrook, we've said it every week, they're really performing well at the moment and they continue to lead the C-grade ladder on 5-0, 2.05%. That's nearly a whole point above Brabham, who are on 4-1. Carlisle with 3 and 2. Then Middle Swan by just 0.2% over SKLP for 4th, with Caversham also on 2 and 3. Those 3 sides all with 2 wins, 3 losses. Helena Valley and Forestfield with a win each and some work to do according to it's in the notes. Speaking of in the notes, did you all see, I shared last week's, just to give you a little bit of context about how much work actually goes into the prep for each show. I hope you saw that and hope you can appreciate why sometimes I might get a little fact wrong here or there, but we give it a go, and as Dave says and Darren says there, great job, great work. I give it my best effort. All right, some matches this week in C grade. I'm not sure there are any standouts really. Caversham taking on Helena Valley. That one probably a close match, should be an exciting match there. Carlisle on the road to SKLP. Good test for the Red Dogs. Brabham at home against Forestfield. And then Middle Swan taking on Bullsbrook in the broadcast of the week at Jackman Oval with, of course, me, Noelzy Johnson. If you'd like to get into the broadcast van, yeah, never let a fat get in the way. But if you want to jump in the broadcast van with me this Saturday, I'd love to welcome you along. Middle Swan versus Bullsbrook will be the broadcast match of the week. Now, it's time for a drink. Tea break, in fact. Go grab a quick snack and come back, because we'll be back in just a few minutes here on the Community Sports Show with me, Noelzy Johnston, and all of you fabulous people out there for the Intersport Slater Gartrell Perth Swan Cricket Association Review Show, Week 6 edition. Thanks to Vision Decor and ID Athletic, I am Noelzy Johnson. We'll be back in just a moment.
The heart of Perth Swan, we're one of a kind. So come, raise your voices, let the anthem ring. We're the pride of Perth Swan. Hear the songs we all sing. Perth Swan's on fire. Feel the energy soar. When the crowd starts roaring, we're ready for more. The Community Sports Show, home of the PSCA, showing our passions to the world every day. With legend behind us and dreams in our hands, you'll find us united from the bush to the sands. The spirit of Perth, it runs through our veins. In every match played, that's where it remains. Under the hot summer sun.
Across the globe, you're here on the Community Sports Show.
I'm back. Don't panic, everyone. I'm back and I'm okay, and I hope you are too, wherever you are across the globe. Thanks for joining me, Noelzy Johnston, for the Week 6 edition of the Perth Swan Cricket Association Intersport Slater Gartrell Review Show, proudly brought to you thanks to Vision Decor and ID Athletic. Oh, I did have a soft drink. Pardon me. All right, we just saw the Week 5 Warriors videos. That is a compilation of all the pictures and posts put up by clubs after each weekend. Thanks very much for that. But it's now time to have a look at who is the video of the week winner and our inaugural video of the month winner. Competition's been tied. It's been getting voted on all during the week. But before I go anywhere, I just need a little point of clarification, because I talked about glitches, and they do happen even to the best of us, and I am one of the best of us. But it happened to me last week in the review show. We gave the video moment of the week to Ryan Leonard. I sat here next to Bailey and said, give this to Ryan. In fact, I got that right. I just got the video wrong. Ryan Leonard taking out last week's video with 16 votes for his first of 5 video. Harley with his 50 and Declan and Trent with the final, both with 15 votes there. So Ryan legitimately getting the gong for last week. All right, so let's have a look at the video moment of the week for week 5. I might have just given you a little sneak peek, but maybe I didn't, who knows. it is time to announce the video of the week for week 6. And we had 8 candidates, 4 of whom, well, let's just say they want to work on telling their mates they're famous and getting their clubs to share the posts with them, because between our top 4, and I'm just having a quick look here, our top 4, over 2,000 votes between them, or 2,000 views, I should say. And this week, the winner of the Joey's Swan Valley Diner for the video moment of the week is, cue drum roll,
Well done, buddy!
Get on, red buddy!
Did you see that? Matt Saliakis of Western Wolves brought up 100. And that's what we love to see, is clubs taking videos of their own content. And I just want to, in the 8, I've given the award to Matt Saliakis because he won based on the public votes. That was how it was worked out. Didn't quite have the most views, but that honour going to Ash Chowdhury, who had nearly 1,000 of his own for getting the wicket there. Many comments about the umpire confirming the dismissal as he stuck up his finger. Well done, umpire. Always good to confirm that. And Darren Chandler shared with us, or we had a video of Darren shared with us, of the first video we've seen of a royal duck, a Jubilee duck. First ball, first game, or first innings. Thanks very much. Unlucky, Darren. You were close, but fell at the line by 5 votes in the end. Congratulations, Matt Saliakis. You can get in touch with us and arrange to collect. And here it is here, the Joey's Swan Valley Diner. Oh, there it is. Gift voucher from Joey's Swan Valley Diner. Thanks very much, guys. All right, so he'll go into the draw for the next 4 weekly prize. But the inaugural Community Sports Show Perth Swan Cricket Association video moment of the month is, out of 4, Mount Lawley's Dave Washbourne, Daniel Mason of Belmont, Happy Bopperay, who really did mount a campaign, and Trent/Ryan of West Coast. Based on the viewers' votes, in 4th place, Dave Washbourne. In 3rd, Trent Wilson of West Coast. In 2nd place on 55 votes and with over 2,000 views of the video, it is Happy Bopperay of Helena Valley, which means the winner, the inaugural winner of our monthly moment of the, or the moment of the month video is, let's cue it up.
The PSCA, showing our passions to the world every day. With legends behind us and dreams in our hands, you'll find us united from the bush to the sands, the spirit of Perth.
Did you see that? That was, in fact, Daniel Mason of Belmont, who took out the award. I've got your certificate or vouchers here, and you'll also pick up an ID Athletic Community Sports Show pack, a singlet and bucket hat as well. Congratulations, Daniel Mason, for taking that out. Lots of support online for Daniel there. And that's what we love to see. All right, let's have a look now at as I've just looked there, and a few more comments coming through. Good to see you online. Don't forget, say good day. And you could also pick up an ID Athletic Community Sports Show bucket hat and singlet by the end of the show. Let's move on. It is D grade. and it was not a good day for most teams. No team scored, well, the highest score, just having a look across the grades there, the highest score was 169 across the 8 teams, and that was Southern Rossmoyne, who defeated Dianella 5 for 169 to 7 for 156. City Beach, they only needed 26 overs, and they were 2 for 102, defeating Les Moody Mazenod all out for 100 off 34. Mount Lawley Inglewood made 138 but lost to Scarborough, who put on 145 in 39. And Darlington having a bad day out. I've seen their club page. They're resetting, they're putting this one in the memory banks, never to be brought out again. Darlington all out for 46 off 21, going down to Pete Sharp's Coolbinia West Perth with 6 for 93 off 20 there. The Coolby boys getting the win comfortably, you would suggest. Not a lot, and with low scores like that, you can imagine there's not a lot of batting mentions or bowling for that matter. Hendrik Milan was the best with 74 off 107 for the Sharks. Deepak Patel had 42, Niall Smith 41 not out. Suman Paul had 38, Inesh Valipuram, and I saw a vote from Inesh online there. He had 32 and 34 of the 138 for Mount Lawley Inglewood were bowled courtesy of Sharks Extras. So, oi. Good to see David there giving us feedback that Daniel's happy and bouncing about. We'll get in touch offline and organise for Dan to pop into the studio here, Dave, and collect his prizes. Look forward to that. All right, well, Keith Middleton was the best of the bowlers in the D grade here. He had 4 for 32. Jordan Brock took 3 for 3 off 6. Abel Jeffrey had 3 for 18. Harsh Patel 3 for 27 with 36 runs at 2. And rounding out the bowling mentions, Hemant Pathak with 3 for 29. Now, you would think with all that chaos and carnage that there'd be a dozen golden ducks. In fact, nil, nada, 0. Well done. That's the way we like it. City Beach lead the ladder there on 4 and 1 and 1.3% ahead of Southern Rossmoyne and Darlington, who are both on 3 and 2, while 5 teams then sit, the remaining 5 teams sit on 2 wins that separated by mere percent. Mount Lawley Inglewood, Dianella, Scarborough, Coolbinia West Perth and Les Moody Mazenod. Into the mix here, Dianella versus Les Moody Mazenod this week. A bottom half clash there that could see some movement from Dianella if they can't hold on at home. Scarborough taking on Darlington. That should be a good test for Darlington if they're going to get a win on the road there. Saddam Hussein there, I suspect from, if memory serves me, I'm going to say Saad is from Maylands there, acknowledging that he was on the non-strikers end. So Coolbinia West Perth up against Mount Lawley Inglewood. That one, realistically, you'd imagine should go to Mount Lawley. And the match of the round I've got, and it definitely is, it is literally top of the table clash. City Beach taking on Southern Rossmoyne in a 1v2 clash there at City Beach. And the boys love being back on Ocean Drive there, or West Coast Drive, I should say, down by the beach. Good afternoon to you all, City Beach. All right, let's have a look at E-grade now. Caversham, 5 for 141, defeating Carlisle 138. SKLP, 4 for 140, defeating Belmont 7 for 139. And unfortunately for Daniel, it wasn't a good week, but he's got the win and he's bouncing around, and I love that. Swanview, 98 off 28. They lost to Allenbrook, who put on 7 for 100 off 27 to get the win there. And Maylands, after being challenged by me last week, have come back with a vengeance. 8 for 215 off their 40 to defeat Brabham in a high-scoring game. 9 for 196. So Brabham just falling short there. Sazadur Rahman, he's been in the mentions a few weeks now. We've had a couple of videos of him with his 50 and a big 6. He also had a 69. Pittman, or Main, had 49 not out of 54. Just one more, Amit, and you would have got an extra special mention there. Haveen Kumar and Jeff Parnham, both with 38. Jeff Parnham's 38, actually 45% of Swanview's score. Martin Baby had 37. Brendan Scott, 36. Andrew Ho, 35, taking out the... Oh, Noelzy, you are such a funny fella. The thought in my head was the Ho of the Week award between Andrew and Will. If you didn't know they were both cricketers, that would be inappropriate, but Andrew taking the title with 35. Tristan Sanik had 32 not out. David Hart, 31, while Muhammad Akram and Diraj Sharma sneaking in, sneakies, with 30. Now, there's a bit of confusion in the Swanview lineup because the president, I mentioned him at the top of the show, Paul Fernie. It's his 300th game this week for Allenbrook Rangers. And last week he was celebrating early. He took a fifer, 5 for 36. Well done, Prez. Cale Kirby had 4 for 30. DC Darren Chandler with 3 for 8 off 8 for the Rangers. Will Ho, and that's where I mentioned, he had 3 for 32, so he took out the bowling honours. And Taylor Zubair taking 3 catches for Maylands, a new name there, Taylor. 1 golden ducket was for Carlisle and the ladder. Caversham on 5-0, 2 games clear and a 0.7 as well. So, 0.7 clear of Maylands and Brabham, who are both on 3-2. Allenbrook, Carlisle, SKLP and Belmont have 2, and Swanview yet to get a win. Heard from Dave Peace in response to the question about the T20. Unrelated matter. Got to wonder what's happening at Swanview there. Paul Fernie too quick, getting them out too quick, because I've heard that there were questions about not being timed out. So again, just a life lesson. Pad up a couple of... Yeah, no mention of Steve Abbott, none for 37 off 2. Sorry, Steve. Maybe that's why you lost your voice, asking people to chase the balls. No, moving on. Right, matches of the week, matches of the round for E-grade this week. Belmont versus Caversham, a chance for Belmont to get back on, but it really will be tough, even at home against the undefeated Caversham. Carlisle taking on SKLP, Allenbrook taking on Maylands, and Swanview taking on Brabham. And again, Swanview at the tail there. I don't think, even at home, that game will be out on the back deck at Brown Park. I don't think even that'll save them. Brabham, probably, I'd say, looking at a couple of hundred easy there. F grade, some happy home teams again. 4 out of 4 teams winning at home in the F grade. Western Wolves defeating Ascot, 149 for Ascot, 4 for 226 to the Western Wolves. Yokine Pilbara 169 defeating Dianella 149. Southern Rossmoyne 8 for 261 defeating West Coast 82 off 26. And Brabham 6 for 167 off 28 made it 4 straight for the home teams as they beat Mount Lawley Inglewood 9 for 166. Now, I smile, viewers, because in the post I put up I said some names are spelt phonetically. I'm about to encounter a few new names, and I have deliberately spelt them phonetically. And we lead off with Ruchira Pali Yugura, or Yuguru. 134 off 113 balls, batting at number 5 for Southern Rossmoyne. You'd think that would put him into the All-Stars team. Unfortunately, he encountered Bailey O'Keefe on a good day, also in the battle for 5th spot there. Matt Zeliakis, 101 not out off 114 balls, batting at number 4 for the Wolves. 14 fours in there, getting the win in the 40th over. I believe it was the final ball. Pardon me. Isham Patel, he had 56 not out. Vipal Java. Now, I have a question for all our Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani viewers out there. I'd like to be respectful. Where I see a W in the middle of a name, is that a V? So is it Vipul Java or is it Vipul Jawa? Either way, Vipul made 51 at 5 and took 3 for 10 off 5, and that was enough for him to hold 8th spot in our All-Stars team. Sanju Warner Kula Surya, that one was phonetically spelt out, and Damien Guthrie both had 52. Jashandeep Buller with 41 at 8 for Yokine. Xavier Damehus, a new name for me, he had 32. Well, Cadell Kay and Aaron Ward chipped in with 31, and Abdul Muhammad gets the sneaky. He got the 30. In the bowling stakes, as I just slide that one back down and that one up, Akesh Patel, 4 for 17. Manuka Raburu with 3 for 21. Ben Perella, 3 for 26. Prajval Sagval, 3 for 26 as well. I'm surprised I have that like that. Mark Killen had 3 for 40, and Mohit Bharataya 3 for 47. Now, Steve Abbott doesn't get a mention for his none for 37, but last week's guest Bailey Cayley, who has surrendered his title as the better Bailey, chipped in with 2 for 46. 2 Golden Ducks, Western Yokine Pilbara first of all, and then Western Wolves. No names, no pack drills, but there was a Royal Duck in there. Brabham, they lead 5-0, 1.33% ahead of the Wolves, Southern Rossmoyne and Yokine Pilbara all on 4. Dianella, Mount Lawley, Inglewood, West Coast on 1, and Ascot looking for their first. And it might be this week they've got a chance against Dianella, who they take on at home. Let's have a look. Yokine Pilbara 4v2, Yokine versus Western Wolves. Mount Lawley Inglewood taking on West Coast there. Both those sides sitting outside the top 4 at the moment, and a win to keep both of them in the running. Ascot taking on Dianella at Ascot. Chance there, and 1 versus 3rd. Brabham up against Southern Rossmoyne. That'd be an interesting one to be a fly on the wall for, but we won't be there, so I look forward to seeing some photos. And speaking of which, we have called out and acknowledged the contribution of the photo takers at all the clubs. Thank you to you for sharing, and all the club people doing the work behind the scenes. You help us so that we can help you showcase your clubs and your heroes and legends and showcase them to the world. G-grade, let's soldier on. G-grade, more home team happiness here with 3 out of 3 wins. And of course G-grade with the 7 sides in it, so they've got the bye. That was Allenbrook's turn last weekend. Helena Valley, 9 for 188 off 39.4. So 2 balls remaining. Defeated Scarborough, 8 for 185. So Scarborough, second narrow loss. They'll be keen to make amends there. University 1 for 170 off just 20 overs in a strong win over SKLP 164 all out off 38. And Mundaring getting some light in their lives, 6 for 206, defeating Maylands 116 off 23. And as I mentioned, Allenbrook having the bye. All right, batting mentions here, and a big one to start with. This puts him in the running. Unfortunately, it's at the number 1 position, but a special mention to Jack Anderson of University, 116 off 47 balls. Yes, you heard me correct. 116 off 47 balls, including 14 fours and 7 sixes in a knockout spell there. Jack Anderson, I actually went back and had a look at the ball by ball. I don't normally do that. I was fascinated though. Jack Anderson with 21 runs off the 11th over. Come on in, Jack Anderson. Steve Nimmo would be jealous of that. He had 83 off 83 and had 16 fours there. Gurpreet Brar had 87 not out, while Nick Carell's had 50, Vilok Halai 42, Ash Ravikumar and Zach Hurst both with 35, Roger Smith soldiering on with 31, and Kalpesh Halai, the sneaky, with 30. Sai Pragnapuram, he didn't quite get 30, he had 28 off 25, but he was batting at number 10 for Maylands, and that puts him in contention for the Community Sports Show All-Stars. He had the highest score with 28 for Maylands by 11. Not bad for number 10. Where's the rest of your teammates there, Si? Who knows? 5 Golden Ducks, 2 of them to Maylands. Well, that's where 2 of them were, mate. Scarborough had 1, Helena Valley had 1, and SKLP added another to their growing collection here this afternoon. 41 extras by Helena Valley, 37 by Uni, and yet somehow both bagged wins despite giving away bags of runs. Deacon the Destroyer Williams of Mundaring, he had 6 for 40. Trevor Higgins had 3 for 20. Andy also had 30 not out at 2 and a catch for University. Not sneaky there, Trev. That's a good knock. Chris Barker had 3 for 28 and Matty Smith 3 for 33. Looking at the ladder, now that says 4-0. I suspect it should be 5. No, it'll be 4-0 because they had the bye. Allenbrook on 4 wins, still with the lead after the bye. Helena Valley in second with 3 and 2. Then University, Mundaring and Maylands all with 2 wins, while Scarborough and SKLP both with some work to do and just the 1 win to their name. In the matches, University taking on Helena Valley, SKLP taking on Scarborough, and Maylands taking on Allenbrook there. That'll be a tough one for Maylands. University versus Helena Valley, I think, 3rd versus 2nd, the match of the round there, and Mundaring having the bye. All right, well, I'm going to cheat here. I'm going to do that. I'm actually on track time-wise. A few more grades to go, then we'll announce the winners of the effort of the week and the changes to the Community Sports Show All-Stars team. We'll be back in just a moment here on the Community Sports Show with me, Noelzy Johnston, for the Intersport Slater Gartrell Perth Swan Cricket Association review show, proudly brought to you thanks to Vision Decor and ID Athletic. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Don't go too far. We'll be back to wrap up the show just after this break. See you soon.
Yeah! Well done, Matty!
All right, mate. on, red buddy!
What up, Sal?
World, everyone and every sport is welcome to join in the fun, from the large and especially the small. We're here to help them to stand proud and tall. We tell you their stories with all of the glories. We lift up the stars from near and from far. Through Facebook and YouTube and Instagram too, sharing the love of connection, it's just what we do. The Community Sports Show, your home of the people, their tales and their dreams. It's the only place for you and your teams.
Here I am again, still here, and I hope you are too, wherever you are across the globe. Thank you for joining me. Noelzy Johnston coming to you live on the Community Sports Show as I just reconnect to the online stuff there, and I hear my puppy dog go for a walk past the studio door there. So you can't come in, puppy. So, where you do want to go into, though, are our fabulous sponsors. Of course, up there, Slater Gartrell Intersport have become the Perth Swan Cricket Association review show sponsor, but Vision Decor and ID Athletic, our platinum sponsors, have been with us for a number of years now, as well as Barner Construction and Joey's Swan Valley Diner on board this season. Thanks to them for being a part of our show, and to you as well, wherever you are across the globe. Well, just 3 grades left until we announce the winner of the effort of the week and announce any changes to the All-Stars team and confirm the Golden Duck status for everyone. Actually, with a smile on my face, I'm just going to do that for a second. I'll be back in 10 seconds. Sorry everyone, I didn't want you all to be deafened by my, you think my voice is loud, wait till you hear my sneezes. Alright, let's roll through, and speaking of rolling, it was a roller coaster time in H grade. First place Carlisle went down to second place Coolbinia West Perth, 8 for 169 to Coolbinia West Perth, 9 for 173 off 37 overs there. Bayswater with 3 for 98 off 20 had an easy win over Midland, all out for 38 off 12. Allenbrook 95 off 36 lost to City Beach, 6 for 99 off 26. And then one of our video moment of the week candidates, Ash Chowdhury, down there in H grade for Yokai and Pilbara, having a good day out. They defeated Glen Forest 8 for 231 off 40. Glen Forest 8 for 143. At least batting out their overs there, Glen Forest. So take the positives out of that. Batting mentions, Jawad Hafiz had 60. Shan Patel had 47, and that's what I was asking about the W's before. Is that Jawad or Javad Hafiz? Manoj Jayawadena had 38 and Rishi Barot had 33. Now, we've seen some big extra scores over the last few weeks, 30s, 40s, saw a 60. Well, now we've cracked that. We've got a 70. 73 extras by Glen Forest. 41 wides, 2 no balls, and then 30 penalties for being too slow. This is on you, the bowlers and the captains. Be aware of your timing. 30, that is 6 overs you've been penalised there. Or actually 5 overs, 6 runs and over you get penalised. So be aware of your timing. You're costing yourselves there. They got 32 back, 22 wides, 2 leg byes and 8 byes, but a difference of 40. You know, when you're only defending 140 or you're trying to chase 233, you don't want to give any away. In the bowling stakes, it was pretty light on, really. Lucknow Don had 5 for 33 and took 3 catches, while Cooper Mansfield, he got a mention for Glenn Forrest. He had 4 for 43 and Daryl Nelson with 3 for 36. And I smile because, again, please register your team, register your players, because fill-ins reigned supreme with bat and ball here in the H grade, H grade, but no mentions apart from one. A bloke at Bayswater Postals filled in, and if you don't mind, you don't get anything other than an acknowledgement. You took 8 for 6 off 6.4, whoever you were. Sorry, Bayswater, don't know who that was, so please let us know. Golden Ducks, Ellenbrook, with the only one in the grade there. Coolbinia and Bayswater on 4 and 1, Carlisle and City Beach on 3, then Yokai and Pilbara, Glen Forest and Midland on 2, with the Rangers yet to score. Coolbinia take on Midland, Bayswater take on Carlisle. That should be the match of the week, first versus third. Glen Forest up against City Beach, and then Yokai and Pilbara taking on Ellenbrook. You'd say Yokai and Pilbara there pretty comfortably. I grade, let's have a look. Caversham 141 defeating Coolbinia West Perth. I believe this might be you, Kaylin. 141 defeating Coolbinia 118. Mount Lawley Inglewood 2 for 157 in 35. Were able to cruise past Bayswater's 8 for 154. City Beach 8 for 157 went down to SKLP 8 for 175, and Middle Swan 4 for 217 defeating Western Wolves in a rip-snorting game. I heard nothing but positives about this one. 4 for 217 off 38, and Western Wolves 9 for 216 off 40. So coming down the last couple of overs there. AJ Kang, the best of the batsmen, he had 82 for Middle Swan. Harry Mangat with 74, while Anuj Garg had 65 not out for the Wolves. So the top 3 scorers there, all in that last game. Carl Blewett had 49, Rory Litfield 44, Leon Ewing 40, Nitesh Kamani 39, Gavin Franchetto 33 not out, with both Josh Bennett and Chris Nielsen with 33, while Dipesh Budia, sneaky, got in there with 30 not out off 18 at 8 and took 3 for 21 for SKLP. So just looking in there up against Jarvel. Good effort, Dipesh, but 3 for 21 versus 5 for 5. That's how close it is in the Noelzy's Community Sports Show All-Star team. Srinivas Kada and Bhupendra Patel both getting sneaky. They had 30. Galal Singh, the best of the bowlers for Middle Swan and the grade, he had 5 for 23. Darren Franklin with 3 for 28. Gurdev Irichi with 3 for 29 and 3 catches. And I believe Gurdev came up to me after the broadcast last week, asked me about filming a special game coming up, so make sure you get in touch so I can book that in. Warren Gandhi, he had 3 for 30. There were 3 Goldens, Bayswater, SKLP and the Western Wolves. and not making it easy for themselves. Middle Swan got the win, but they could have got it a bit easier, giving up 46 extras to Western Wolves, 40 of those wides. No names, no pack drills, other than tough day at the office. And a shout out because one of the wides led to the injury of the Middle Swan keeper, who will be out for a few weeks now. Just step down leg is what I heard to take the ball, copped a bat, and now has a broken collarbone. So best of luck, Juggy Stevenson. Hope you're on the mend and better soon. SKLP, they're on 5-0. Mount Lawley, Inglewood and Coolbinia have 3 wins. City Beach on 1.5% are ahead of Middle Swan on 0.89 in the battle for 4th. Western Wolves and Caversham all on 2 wins there, so really tight competition here, and Bayswater Postals with 1. And a pretty even round of fixtures this week. 3v2, Coolbinia versus Mount Lawley Inglewood. Caversham taking on Bayswater. That one should be close. Caversham and Bayswater in 7th and 8th place respectively. Probably, I mean, they're all going to be close, I reckon. But Middle Swan, after a couple of good wins on the trot, on the road to City Beach. And that is a 4v5 match. Western Wolves taking on SKLP. And you would imagine that SKLP will get the win there, but Wolves could prove me wrong. All right, final grade for the night before we come to a conclusion. It is J grade. Ascot defeated by Bullsbrook 64 off 27 to Bullsbrook, 2 for 109 off 20. And it's good to see all the clubs putting in the standard 20 overs if you get the win. I will call it out if you don't, but only had that twice this year. Well done. Dianella, 9 for 132, defeating Forestfield 130 off 35. There's Moody Mazenot, 8 for 180 off their 40, able to account for SKLP 116. And Belmont in a ripper, 4 for 222. You would think that's going to be enough to get you the win. Well, off 40 overs, I should say. Swanview, however, 6 for 224 off 40 overs. So another game coming down to the wire there, and another game representing that the association has got most of the fixturing right. It's certainly panning out that way at the moment. Now, Golden Ducks, there was only one, that goes to Dianella, but there were 7. We mentioned 64 off 27 for Ascot. There were 7 normal ducks in there, 27 for a bloke called Phil, and 20 extras. So that is 47 out of the 64, 17 runs left by just a couple of players there, never going to get the win. Declan Pilkington, he did the best he could to get 98 not out off 112 for Swanview. Brad Worrell had 55 not out. CJ Craig Johnson continues to soldier on. He had 51 and 3 for 13 to put him in the running for the All-Stars team. Craig Nichols, 49. Jonas Mattingly for Bullsbrook, he had 48 not out. Paul Coulthard had 48. Badri Pandey with 44 not out. Brett Cahill, 42. Brad Vanderleer, 41 not out. Neil Warden, 36. And Travis Carter, 33. And in the bowling stakes, Javelan Pandaya, 5 for 20. Graham Lloyd, 4 for 17. Jamie Negro, 4 for 27 for Belmont. Brooke Sheriff, 3 for 9. And Vali Sengani rounding out the bowling mentions for the week with 3 for 42. 3 for 44. Nearly gave you an extra couple, Valgie. You're not getting them. Ladder, Les Murdy Mazenod. Bit of pride on top of the hill there. They're on 5-0 and comfortable 0.5 ahead of Bullsbrook. who are on 4-1. SKLP, another game behind. Forestfield, Dianella and Ascot, all on 2 wins. Then Belmont and Swanview on 1. Looking at the stakes here this week, well, a couple of rounds ago, or a couple of grades ago, I mentioned bottom of the table clash has been exciting. Ascot and Belmont have a local derby, and that should be a ripper there. 6 versus 7. Forestfield take on Les Murdy Mazenod. That'll be a tough one for Forestfield, but they are at home. Dianella taking on SKLP, and Bullsbrook versus Swanview. Bullsbrook currently 4-1. Swanview just on the 1. Will it be a problem for Swanview? Who knows? That game at Pickett Park, so travel there. All right, Golden Duck update. Hang your heads in shame. We've had 22s, 23s, a 24. Well, 29, a new season worst. 2 clubs lost their clean skin status. Scarborough with 3 ducks in 1 week have lost theirs in fine form, and West Coast as well, also losing their Golden Duck clean skin status. SKLP had 6 for the week and have 12 overall. Caversham as an individual club have 9. Well, for the week last week, A grade had a season-leading 7 for the grade to take out that dubious honour. Before we wrap it up, a couple of awards to present, a couple of announcements as well. But first of all, thanks to you wherever you are around the globe. I've seen a couple of comments in there saying g'day. I'll tell you what. I know I said I'd draw a name out of a hat. I'm actually going to be cheeky because I suspect there's a couple of you still online. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. I might have thrown myself in the deep edge. But I will come up with something. But for now, I want to say congratulations to everyone that got a mention on the show tonight. I have to smile because even without someone here to yarn with me, I still go the 90 minutes. Turns out I can talk that long without someone there. Thanks to everyone that's joined us. Thanks to everyone that said g'day. Let's have a look at the All-Star team changes. 2 ins this week. In 4th place, I've selected Milan Dabazia of SKLP. He, from 3rd grade, he had 113 not out off 152 balls there, batting at 4 for SKLP. That's earned him 4th place in the team. And, well, Bailey Cayley earlier said he's sacrificing his better Bailey status to Bailey O'Keefe of West Coast. And I'm just pulling up a message there. Sorry, viewers, I'll do that way. He said he's giving up the award, and he's probably a fair statement because also into the Perth Swan Cricket Association All-Stars. He's been up and down. He's even been on the show, and that doesn't mean that's why he's getting it. Bailey O'Keefe of West Coast, B grade, 101 not out off 82 balls, and then coming in with 3 for 25 off a full set of, or off 6 there. So good, 6 there, 3 for 25. So Bailey O'Keefe and Milan Dabazia into the All-Stars team, which for those who are new to it, it's not a team of the week. It's a rolling team. It's a battle for positions. I look at the effort, the performance, where it's sat within the team, who's tagged us, what they've told us about it, and those two have slotted in. Now, as a result of all that, the review show effort of the week for week 5, the winner of a $50 Slater Gartles Intersport voucher, a $25 Joey's Swan Valley Diner voucher. I don't know why I'm saying doucher there. Voucher. And a Community Sports Show ID Athletic singlet and bucket hat. The winner is the better Bailey O'Keefe, with 3 for 25 off 6 and 101 not out off 82, batting at 5 for West Coast. Congratulations, Bailey. No doubt that message will get to you, and we'll organise for you to pop in and grab those. Just a reminder, tomorrow it is C-grade Middle Swan versus Bullsbrook. I've got my fingers, toes, arms and legs crossed. I can't cross my eyes, but they would be crossed too if they could be, as Middle Swan take on the undefeated Bullsbrook at Jackman Oval. A home game for me. Wherever you are, thanks for joining me tonight. Now, I'm going to list off some names. Dave Mason said g'day. Darren Chandler said g'day. And Kaylin said g'day. So I have 3 names there. How do I give away the voucher that I promised? First one of you 3 to say cheers Noelzy in the comments that I will see right now will get the award, because that means you've hung around, you've stayed with us, and that's what we love to see. So first one of you to say g'day or thanks will score themselves the additional Joey's Swan Valley Diner voucher. Is that a cheers, Noelzy, from Kaylin? I'll tell you what, Kaylin, you're a big fan, so why not? You can actually take out the Joey's Swan Valley Diner bonus award for this week. Only because we've got Joey's Swan Valley Diner on board can I do that. Only because we have Slater Gartrell Intersport as a sponsor for the show can we give away their $50 vouchers, as well as ID Athletic. They provide us with our sporting apparel and promotional. Callum wants the ice cream. Well, Callum wants the ice cream. No comments there, but he'll enjoy it, because Joey Swan Valley Diner, breakfast, lunch, afternoon tea, morning tea, they've got you covered. Ice creams, hot drinks, cold drinks, everything you need. Just like Slater Gartrell have a full range of sports equipment. You're into sport, we're into sport, they're into sport. Slater Gartrell in Midland, get down and get into them for all the equipment you need, as well as ID Athletic, sporting apparel and vision decor, curtains, blinds, awnings, even hybrid floorings. Thanks very much wherever you've joined me from tonight. I am Noel Noelzy Johnston on behalf of myself and everyone involved in the show. Thanks for joining us. Till tomorrow, take care, stay safe. Please be nice to yourselves, but remember, be nice to each other too. We all hurt. We just don't always show it. See you next time.
Across the globe, you're here on the Community Sports Show.
Since 2019, we've been loud and been proud. The Community Sports Show, telling tales for the crowd. From Perth in Western Australia, our man Noelzy and all of the team share the stories from all sports to all of the world. Everyone and every sport is place for you and your team.